Here's the complete script, 874 words, within the 5% target range. Right now, deep inside your brain, your myelin sheath is thinning, quietly, permanently, without a single symptom you can point to, and the neurologists who discovered this admit they have no way to switch it off. This is the fatty insulation wrapped around every nerve fiber that carries your thoughts. When it thins, signals slow down. Some researchers now believe it's the single biggest reason your brain ages at all. But high performers have found one way to interrupt it, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly what it is. Here's what that thinning is doing to you tonight while you sleep, while you scroll, while you sit reading this. Every time you search for a word and it stalls on your tongue, that's a millisecond of lost insulation. Every time you walk into a room and forget why, that's a signal arriving late. It isn't dementia. It isn't damage in the way a bruise is damage. It's slower cabling, and slower cabling changes who you are by degrees so small you'll never notice the day it happened, only the years. Right now, somewhere in your skull, a fiber that used to fire in 3 milliseconds is firing in 4. You will not feel this. You will only feel its downstream cost, the name you can't retrieve, the focus that slips a little earlier each afternoon. Picture a single nerve fiber like a long wire threading through your brain and down your spine. Myelin is the insulation wrapped around it in tight segments, laid down by cells called oligodendrocytes, like a factory wrapping cable in sequential rings. When the insulation is thick and fresh, an electrical signal skips down the wire almost instantly, jumping gap to gap. That speed is the entire reason you can think in real time, read a sentence, catch a ball, recognize a face before it registers consciously. But the wrapping is not permanent. It degrades with age, with chronic stress hormones bathing the tissue, with poor sleep interrupting the exact repair window when oligodendrocytes are supposed to rebuild it. Frayed insulation means the signal leaks. It arrives late, or weaker, or not at all. Multiply that across billions of fibers, and you get the version of yourself that used to finish sentences faster. Here is the part the experts don't publish in the press releases. Neurologists can watch this thinning on a scan. They can name the exact white matter tracts losing density years before any diagnosis exists. What they cannot do is reverse it with a drug. The medications built for severe demyelinating disease don't touch ordinary age-related thinning. Wrong mechanism entirely. There is no approved prescription that regrows healthy myelin in a normal aging brain. The researchers who map this decline will tell you privately that medicine understands the wiring failure better than it understands how to rewire it. That gap is exactly where high performers have quietly started operating. And here's the twist that upends what you were told. You've probably heard do more brain puzzles, or just sleep more and you'll fix it. Neither works the way you think. Crosswords and Sudoku strengthen existing connections. They do almost nothing for the fatty insulation itself. And sleep alone isn't the lever either, because oligodendrocytes don't respond to rest. They respond to a signal your body only sends during a very specific kind of physical stress. Passive rest actually leaves the repair machinery idle. The people rebuilding their myelin fastest are not the ones meditating longest or sleeping the most hours. They're doing something almost nobody associates with brain health at all. The rule is this: sustained, moderate-intensity aerobic movement, the pace where you can still talk but not sing, triggers oligodendrocyte precursor cells to mature and start laying down new myelin within hours. Researchers tracking this call it the 20-minute threshold. Below it, the signal barely fires. At or past it, precursor cells activate and begin wrapping fresh insulation around the exact circuits you used during the effort. Meaning, if you think through a problem while you move, you're laying new cable around that specific thought pathway. High performers who guard their focus obsessively have built this into a near-daily ritual, not for cardiovascular health, but because they've learned it's the only reliable trigger for repairing the wiring their entire cognition depends on. It isn't a supplement. It isn't a nootropic. It's 20 uninterrupted minutes of movement at the right intensity, done consistently, that the sedentary brain simply never gets. So tonight, Don't reach for a puzzle app or an extra hour of sleep and call it brain maintenance. Go for a 20-minute walk fast enough that singing would be difficult. And while you do it, actively think through something that matters to you, a decision, a problem, a plan. You're not just clearing your head. You're giving the exact cells that rebuild your signal speed a reason to start wrapping insulation around that specific circuit tonight. But the myelin sheath isn't the only structure quietly changing while you read this. There's another region, smaller, older, sitting deeper in your skull, and what it's doing right now is arguably harder to reverse. Save to home/jarvisadmin/brain fuel myelin script, txt.